Hello, I'm Glenn W. Hunter, and with me today is James Woods, Dat Yoga Dude, and this is the Feel Free to Feel Free podcast.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's James Woods, aka Dat Yoga Dude with Feel Free to Feel Free.
So, what we're going to do today, continuing our theme of social emotional learning, is James, I want us to talk about, how can we get the communities we serve, teachers, students, administrators, how can we get them to improve process and intentionality of deploying social emotional learning? We got to get these tools in the hands of those adults and especially the children, just so they can cope better with all the craziness around them. So with that being our backdrop, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
How do you get started launching social emotional learning in schools? How do you just get it started?
Good question, big question with a small answer. It all starts with the breath. And if you would join me, we can start out our session with a breath here so we can approach that huge issue that a lot of schools and districts have. So let's all sit up nice and tall. Find that relaxing place, even if you're on the beach with the palms swaying in the wind, or if you're in a district office in a rolling chair, it doesn't matter. You have space to be grounded and relaxed. Let the arms fall comfortably to the side. The shoulders move away from the ears and relax as the chest opens. And you find yourself breathing deep into your belly. As we set the foundation in the body, let's create a foundation in the breath by breathing in through the nose and out of the nose. Nice gentle breaths, breathing in and out of the nose. Finding a relaxing rhythm, finding softness in the face, the arms, the hands. Becoming aware of your body and its reaction to the breath. On a count of three, we're going to deepen the breath, really breathing all the way down to the bottom of our belly, through the nose. And as we exhale through the nose, we feel the body release the tension. On a count of three, we start with a deep inhale. 1, 2, 3. Inhale deep through the nose, breathe in. Through the nose, a slow, long exhale. Deep breath through the nose, fills the lungs, the belly, the diaphragm. Cleansing, empty through the nose, your body release and relax. Last one as we inhale deeply, filling the nostrils. Breathe. And finally through the nose, let the air go. And breathe in, calm. So hopefully during that practice, you were able to listen to your body, you're able to listen to your breathing. And it's the same with implementing social emotional learning skills. It's all about listening, all about hearing the problems, all about hearing the tough issues that schools, that counselors, that individuals and parents have to face and deal with. There's a whole book we can throw at people with what they should do with their wellness. But once again, it is their wellness. So we have to understand the environment, the culture. We have to understand the needs that are being met successfully, praise them, congratulate, and then those that are coming up just a little bit short. So within our program, before we jump into stretching, before we jump into bending and doing all the yoga and mindfulness stuff, before we even take that first step on the campus, we need to know where that school is. What things are they already implementing? What things are they positively working on? What things have they been struggling? So we have a 10-point plan that we check off different points of where they are and the things that they've done and the things that they've accomplished. And then some of the things that they're still working on, and maybe they didn't even think that they needed to create a successful social emotional learning plan. Now, we've developed this 10-point plan over years of doing this work, sitting in principal's office, sitting at IEPs, sitting at board meetings with the district, listening and understanding and hearing the issues and the needs, and really understanding how our program can address those. So if you are a program, you need to be heard, you need to be validated for the work that you have done. And then we need to partner with you so we can make sure the work that we are coming can really be implemented collectively and together. Just because we are the experts of meditation, mindfulness, and yoga and social emotional learning doesn't mean we are experts in your needs. So of course we got to come together and we have to make a collective effort to impact the students, the parents, and the teachers that we all really care about. And that starts with our 10-point strategic plan, where we really investigate and look and listen to what it is that you need for your school and your organization.
I really appreciate how you break down the approach with a 10-point plan. You know, some of that sounds corporate and stuffy, but at the end of the day, what we've created is a structure to get to the point where results are being recognized. And you've seen that with a number of the schools that you've had a chance to work with. So it's not the rigidity of it, it's actually just the structure that you're able to grow in, so that each individual is benefiting really from the lessons that you're learning, that you're providing, that the training that you're giving.
Right.
So with that in mind, you know, when you think about the social emotional learning tools that actually work, once you make that connection, what kind of feedback do you often get that says that, oh my goodness, the youth, they were able to get this?
And really, as you said, it can appear stuffy and corporate, but it really taps into the humanity of it. There's so many things going on and so many issues. We want to help to focus the mind. We want to help to focus on the mission and the goals of the school. And we understand that people just have a lot of stuff going on. And instead of trying to beat somebody into a 10-point plan, it's like we're walking and we're holding your hand into what you really want for yourself and your mind with this plan, so we can achieve and make happen. So it really is about helping a school guide itself to its own sense of wellness and understanding what the needs of the school population, understanding the needs of the students, and making those efforts come through and helping them to get the sense of wellness that they feel. Wellness, there's all kinds of measurements and assessments out there, but if it doesn't work for your school, it doesn't work for your school. So it has to be a collaborative effort to make sure it comes together and it happens. And when we love working with the students and listening to them and getting an earful of what works for them and what doesn't work for them. One of the biggest things I remember of being able to listen and collaborate with the students, I come into a classroom, first day, I'm brought into this classroom to work specifically with the Black boys of the school who are having some issues. They had a whole name for the group and everything. It was cool. It wasn't offensive or anything like that for the kids or for anyone else on campus. But these were the boys who were having some issues, and they happened to be African American. And I come in, and the first thing the boy says to me as I tell him we're gonna do some yoga and everything, he's like, "Nah, I ain't doing no yoga and stuff. My mama said I can only do Jesus. I don't do no yoga." And I'm like, okay, all right. And I could have broken down how yoga, meditation, and mindfulness, it could be a part of spiritual practices. It can do this and do all that. But I was just like, okay, all right. Well, if that's not a part of what you can or cannot do, well, can you sit there and breathe? Well, can you sit there and be quiet? Can you sit there and close your eyes? Can you sit there and just relax for the next couple of moments? I was like, yeah, okay, I can do that. And I was able to get him to participate and join in. And it's been like that for a lot of the schools as well, too, where their first response to the work that we're doing is, okay, we can't take this time, we can't take away from this PE time, we can't take away from this study time, we can't take away from this issue, that issue, or we have to only put it here, put it in there. All right, that's cool. Let me know your restrictions. Let me know your environment, your culture. Let me know so I can work with it then and really put it in your hands for the best way to use these tools that we have. Because social emotional learning is all about effectively using the tools to create impact within the campuses. It's all about that. And so once we communicate with them that, hey, these are tools for you to use. Um, the custodian here has tools to make sure that the place is clean. The administration has tools here to make sure the place is organized. Now you also have a sort of tools here to make sure that the social and the emotional aspect of learning has a system to be impactful and effective. So once we put those tools in their toolkit, it has the impact that we want for them, but more importantly, has the impact that we are creating together as a collaborative effort.
You know, James, one of the things that I think brings so much value in the way you approach it is as you're demonstrating these tools, these techniques, these movements, you're also putting in the mind of teachers and the youth, you know, once you know better, you can do better.
Right.
You know, you have the young man who put up the resistance right away. It's like, well, can you just sit and breathe and focus? Well, yes, I can do those things. Well, those are steps toward the outcomes that you're trying to achieve throughout that entire class community. You know, so, you know, we can call it what it is or what we wish it to be, but what you're doing is reinforcing the behaviors that will lead to mindfulness for one, but definitely success in the classroom for having more and more orderly environment. And I think that's something that you just can't undersell when you're bringing these type of tools and this kind of knowledge to individual classrooms and entire school communities.
Right. And as you said, and as we talked about earlier, with that awareness, it has to be a validation piece because a lot of times people don't want to be aware of the things that they're not doing. When people are approached with, oh, you're doing these things, and a lot of times they sound so simple or they sound like things that might not work for their campus or their environment, then the walls come up. So it's important to also see the things that they have done and see the things that they are working through to handle their own issues and handle their own problems. Because no matter when an expert comes in, you go to a doctor and you're like, okay, the doctor knows best of what to do and everything. Because it's a trusted institution, medicine and everything like that. But when an expert has to come to your home and tell you to do something that you feel like you're best at, that can be a tough pill to swallow a lot of times. So we want to make sure they're validated, they're heard, and it is collaborative effort. So yes, if you know better, you do better. And if I'm telling you that there is better and creating that awareness, please don't take offense to it. Just knowing, hey, we're both in this together to learn how to be better.
You know, one of the things about, you know, social emotional learning in the various forms it comes, everything from relaxation to anti-bullying, you know, is that there are tools that work and they don't have to be over the top. But like bathing, you know, it only works if you do it regularly.
That's right.
So what steps can school environments take to ensure that the tools remain top of mind in the classroom where the teachers and the students actually are?
I'm glad I'm better at SEL than I am at bathing. So I always like to remind students as well as teachers and principals how you can implement SEL into every aspect of the school system. Once again, we have tools. The bus driver has tools that she or he uses to make sure the students get in there safely. How can we implement SEL into the experience of kids being dropped off or picked up in the school? How can we implement it into kids signing in at the office, going to playground, coming back out to playground, in the assembly? So it's not just this once a while thing, a big assembly where we get to flash and pan stuff. It's providing systemic tools to ensure that It is ingrained into the whole culture, the whole DNA of the school. That takes time, that takes strategic planning, that takes those 10 points and beyond to really create a whole culture as well as environmental biosphere of social emotional learning, where you wake up and you roll over and you're thinking about it before you even make it to class in that time. So we paint the picture. And so I remember being on one campus and I pull up, and before I even get out my car, the kids are yelling, "It's that yoga dude, it's that yoga dude." They knew what time it was. And so they automatically put their hands together and start breathing. All the fun stuff they do when they go into yoga mode. So we make sure that image stays on campus, not necessarily me all the time doing the yoga, but pictures of the kids doing yoga hanging up around the school. When we do an announcement for the beginning of the school, right after not Statue of Liberty, the
Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge of Allegiance. There we go. Right after the Pledge of Allegiance, we'll take a breath before we go out. As we go out at the end of the day, let's be mindful before we leave the school. As we send out information to the parents' home, we'll also have a sheet on, hey, how you can take a breath, how you can relax, how you really just massaging it into the culture of the school. So they are receiving some benefits of the practices at every step and every way that we can contact. And without having to be such a burden on a school where you have to just change the whole way you think and change the whole way you operate. But it really is just as simple as seeing that yoga dude or seeing themselves as that yoga kid to create that impact that can change the way a school environment reacts to stress and reacts to pressures and reacts to the different incidences that go on school on a daily basis.
Wow. I see, James, as you outline it, it is just so straightforward how you're able to connect with the youth. And I would imagine the teachers as well, but you're able to create that connection. And then you're actually getting them excited about continuing it. But you still have to manage the details. It has to be done repeatedly to get the result on a consistent basis.
Right.
And that gets us specifically to the point of how do they find you?
They can find me at www.datyogadude.com. Instagram, Twitter, social media, D as in dog, A as in apple, T as in Tom, YOGADUDE. And they can find me on a regular basis. We put out daily content through our social media, through our mailing. So even as an instructor, a teacher, educator, we make sure you don't have to even do the work. We send the content, we put the content out there. So the work is the content, the heavy part is lifted. It's just having the classroom available, having the space available, and the kids are able to get it, the teachers are able to get it. So they get a daily shower of Yoga Dude content. And we make it as easy as possible because we understand how valuable, and we understand the value of your systems that you already have as well too. We're not coming in saying that your systems and your tools are inadequate. We're coming in and we're saying, hey, here's a little bit something extra you can add on to the tools and the things that you are already doing. My very stressed, my overwhelmed, my underpaid, underappreciated friend and educator. We just want to give you something special. So yes, thatyogadude.com, everywhere and anywhere.
Outstanding. Again, Glenn W. Hunter, having the privilege to bring this information in conjunction with James, Dat Yoga Dude Woods. James, please say goodbye to our audience because we will be back.
Yes. Peace. And as always, feel free. And namaste. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.